Okay, now this is the last of cycle 2. Now, the story problem you see before you has a lot of calculations, and it also has a lot of old stuff that we've done. That's what's the beautiful part about cycle 2 when we get to the end. They're going to put a lot of stuff together. Now, I'm going to read the story and then we're going to work in parts. Now, hopefully you have a calculator ready to do this type of a problem. Now it says a company intends to sell less of a food in a package and reduce the packaging as well. The company's cereal box currently, and that's a key word here, currently has these dimensions: 11 inches tall, 7 5/8 inches wide, and 2 3/4 inches deep. A vice president has asked for a reduction of ½ inch. Okay, well, we're working with fractions here. A ½ of an inch on each dimension, with the idea of reducing the size of the packaging enough to save the company money without being so drastic that the change is noticeable. And in our day and age, this is actually happening. You're thinking you're getting the same amount of cereal in a box, but they've changed and made the box smaller. So technically, you're not always getting the same volume. Now, this question is bringing in old pieces. Find the percent change in the volume of the cereal box. Now, the larger volume, we're going to find in a minute. The smaller volume, we're also going to find. Now, the original volume uses the current dimensions. So we have to know that it's larger volume minus smaller volume divided by the original or currently used dimensions, but we're finding that volume. Now, this is question A, but we have work to do. And that's where my next slide is going to come in. We have got to find the original area. Well, I'm going to try and draw you a little picture here to kind of give you an idea of what they're talking about. This is my box of cereal. I am telling you, it is 11 inches tall. I am telling you, it is 7 5/8 inches wide. Wide is this part of the box. And then my depth is going to be 2 3/4, which is this side of the box. Now, the beautiful thing about volume is its length times width times height in a box. So the volume is equal to how tall times how wide times how deep. That's our formula. But these are fractions, mixed numbers. So using these dimensions, we have the volume is equal to 11 over 1. Now, how wide is the yellow part of this box? That's going right here. Well, make 7 5/8, because remember we're multiplying by fractions, into an improper fraction. We're going to put 8 here. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 5 is 61. And then we have how deep. Well, how deep is that 2 3/4? Well, again, we are making this into 11/4. Now, we are going to multiply all the way across. We are going to get 11 times 61 times 11 in the numerator, which is 7,381 over 32. Now, we're wanting a percent of change, which means we want a decimal because we need a multiplier to use. Well, notice that 11 is a 2-digit number. That means I want 2 digits in my decimal place. So when I divide 7,381 by 32, I am getting the decimal of 230.66 inches cubed. 2 decimal places. Okay. This is my original area. But we're not done yet. We need to find the new area. Remember, the vice president is going to take this box and subtract 1/2 from each side of the box. So, our volume, which is height minus 1/2 depth minus 1/2 width minus 1/2. Okay. Well, now we got to figure this out. Okay. We are taking the height, which is 11, and we are going to subtract 1/2. We're taking the depth, which is 2 3/4 minus 1/2. And then we're taking the width, which was 7 and 5/8 and subtracting a half. Well, we are going to need to get common denominators. Okay? Well, here we go. This is going to give me 11 over 1 minus a half. Well, I need a common denominator of 2. Well, that means 11 is becoming 22 over 2 minus a half, which is giving me 21 over 2. Now, this is giving me 11/4 minus 1/2. My common denominator this time is 4, which means the 1/2 becomes 2/4 or 9/4 is the new depth. Now, I have the last one to do. Well, this was 61 over 8 minus 1/2. The common denominator here is 8. This will give me, in this case, 57 over 8. Now I've got to multiply all of these numerators together, which means I have 21 times 9 times 57, which is 10,773 over 2 times 4 times 8, which is 64. I am going to divide because I need a decimal. Okay, I am going to get the decimal of 168.33 inches cubed. This is my answer. Now notice I had to do these 2 slides before I can even answer A, the question I was originally asked to find. Well, using 168.33, using 230 minus 66, that is going to be what I fill in here. This is what I got to fill out. Now I can answer the question. This is 230.66 minus 168.33. Now, the original area is, or volume is 230.66. I had to do those 2 slides first to get the volume. Now, percent change. My answer has got to have that little symbol in the end. This is 230.66 minus 168.33. Now that will give me 62.33. And now I'm going to divide by 230 0.66. Now I'm getting the decimal 0.2702. Remember, you've got to move the decimal 2 places. Now, my answer is going to be 27%. Okay? But remember, we reduced. So don't forget, this is a decrease of 27%. That is your answer. Decrease. Now, are there any questions with how I got part A? Because you can't do B without A.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
So I guess my question is, how did you get the 62.33? I missed that
Okay.
part.
Oh, no problem, Rocky. What you're going to do is take 230 and we are going to subtract it from 168.33. That is that answer. That's how I get it.
Okay.
Because we have to find the percent of change. The percent of change has that old formula that we got to remember. So you take the numerator, the 2 answers we got from the next 2 slides, the larger volume, the smaller volume, and then we divide it by the original volume. Then we get the decimal, 0.2702. But 11 is a 2-digit number, so my percent will be a 2-digit number. Any questions, Rocky?
No, thank you so much. I got it.
Oh, anytime. Well, now we go to part B. Okay. Now, this one is telling us a little bit more. Now, they're telling us the original box held 12 ounces. What they're telling us is the volume of this box was 12 ounces, because volume is what's inside the box. If the box held 12 ounces, that's volume. So the volume is 12 ounces of a particular cereal box. Now, it says, estimate the amount the new box will hold. Well, there's a little catch with that. You have to use the percent of change that we got for A in the ounces of cereal in the box. Well, to get the answer, we have to remember that we had a decrease of 27%. That means we need a multiplier. Means we need the multiplier. And if you remember, it's 100% minus 27%. Decrease of 27% is going to give us 73%. We found in A the fact that we had a decrease of 27%. To answer and get the amount or the new volume, we have to get the multiplier, old stuff. 100 minus 27. Minus because we're decreasing. Now, take 73% and we are going to make it a decimal, which means this is 0.73 times the volume of the current box. 0.73 times 12 says our new box's volume is 8.76 ounces. You needed the percent of change, and you had to recognize it was a decrease. The decrease got me here. Now, are there any questions with this? Okay. Now, this last one is going to use a lot of information. Okay. We are going to have to find the amount of packaging. Okay. Okay. Now, the amount of packaging means find the surface area of the box. Find the surface area of the box. Well, this has a formula. Now, they don't tell you this because this is something they believe that you know. But I am going to make life interesting for you. I am going to give you the surface area of a box equals 2 times the length times width plus 2 times length times height plus 2 times width times height. Notice here, 2, 2, 2. When we, in our last session, found surface area, we had to look at the 6 faces of the pictures. Well, here, our box does have 6 faces. Those faces are depth and width and height. Now, you have to decide what is the length, okay? What is the width? Now, the height is always how tall. The width, they specifically tell you in the story problem. The other word that they use for length is also going to be used here. So we have got to do the original box. Then we have to do the new box with the change in dimensions. So we're going to use some of what we did, but we're just going to move it forward. Now, this is where we begin. Okay, surface area. Now, I'm going to use 2 times 2 3/4 times 7 5/8. I'm going to add 2 times 2 3/4 times 11. And then I'm going to add 2 times, in this case, 7 5/8 times 11. Okay. I need to make each one of these into improper fractions. Well, this will give me 2 times 11/4 times 61/8 plus 2 times 11/4 times 11/1 plus 2 times 61/8 times 11/1. Okay. Now, we're going to take and multiply each one of these separately. Now, I'm going to do that on the next slide. Okay. So, my first one, surface area. I have 2/1 times 11/1 times, or 11/4, my fault, and this is 61/8. Okay, multiply all of the numerators. I have 2 times 11 times 61 gives me 1,342 over 32. Then I'm going to be adding 2/1 times 11/4 times 11/1. This will give me 242 over 4. Now, my last one is going to give me 2/1 times 61/8 times 11/1. This will give me 1,342 over, in this case, 8. Now, common denominator in this problem is 32. So I have 32, 1, 3, 4, 2. Now I need to make the second fraction 32. That means I'm multiplying 242 times 8. This gives me 1936. I also need to make this the common denominator of 32, which means I'm multiplying 1342 times 4. So 1342 times 4 is giving me 5368. Okay, add all the numerators together. That means I'm taking 1,342. I'm adding 1,936, and I'm adding 5,368. I get a numerator of 8,646. Now, I want a decimal to 2 places. So I'm going to divide, and I get the decimal of 270.19 inches squared. This is my original surface area. This is how much material is going to make the original box. Well, this is where the fun comes in. I have one of them. Okay. I want a percent of change in surface area. Well, we just learned that the original amount was 2,000 or 270.19. That is the larger amount. But now we have to find the smaller surface area. That means we are subtracting each of the elements by a half. And if you remember, we did that already, okay? Okay. Do you see that we had to get this new volume or these new dimensions? Those are our new dimensions. Okay. We need these numbers again, but we need them a little differently. Okay. Okay. So here we go. This is the new surface area. Okay. This is saying we're taking 2 times the length, which we found was 2 1/4, times the width, which was 7 1/8, or 57/8. We are adding 2 times 9/4 times 'times, in this case, 10 1/2, which was 21/2. And then we had 2 times, in this case, 21/2 times 57/8. These were the new length, width, and depth dimensions after we subtracted 1/2. Well, we're now going to have to do this in pieces. We're going to multiply these two together. Well, this means I'm taking 2 times 9 times 57. Now, this will give me a fraction of 1,026/8. Okay. Now, we're going to take the second set, this set. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. We are going to multiply 2 times 9 times 21, which is going to give me 378/8. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Get me. 4 times 2, 8. I forgot my denominator's 32. 4 times 8. Okay. Now my last one is 2 times 21 times 557. This will give me 2,394/16. Common denominator is 32, which means when I take 378 and multiply it by 4, I get 1,512. Now, 16 times 2 gives me 32. So therefore, my new numerator is 4,788. I'm going to add all my numerators together. I have 1,026, 1,512, and 4,788. I am going to get 7,326. I'm going to divide it by 32. Now, I need a decimal to 2 decimal places. This is 228.94 inches squared. This is the other piece I need. Now, how do I finish part C? I am putting right here 2 to 8.94. This will give me the answer to C, which means I'm taking 270.19, subtracting 228.94. This will give me 41.25, and I am dividing it by 270 and 19 hundredths. So when I divide, okay, I get the decimal 0.15267. Well, this one is going to give me 15.27%. This is my reduction in surface area. Now, as you see, these problems are long. It was only one. But it's old stuff with new stuff. You should be good with fractions. Now, I'm going to stop here, and I'm not going to begin cycle 3 until tomorrow. But I'm letting you know, Sunday, everything must be finished for cycle 2. Because if you want some videos or you want anything, notes, whatever, you have until Sunday at 11:59. On the 18th, a lot of this will disappear. So it's up to you. Now I'm going to let you go. This should give you everything you need for cycle 2. Yay! Huh?
Thank you.
Oh, anytime. So work real hard, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Yay!